If your marriage is stale, the sex has gone, the intimacy, that connection, that spark has disappeared, then you know how debilitating that can be for a man's confidence. Now, there are 3 simple things you can do today to take your wife from not wanting to be intimate to looking at you with desire and respect to wanting to have sex with you and get back in the bedroom again. We've used these steps with over 5,000 men. So in today's podcast episode, this YouTube video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how you can implement these steps to have that sex, intimacy spark, that desire back with your wife. If you don't know who I am, my name's Tony Versick, and I help men fix their marriages, reconnect with their children, and find work-life balance. Basically make loads of money while having great relationships. Step number 1 is identifying and fulfilling the unmet desires of your partner. I hear this all the time from men. We spoke to a guy a few days ago, millions of dollars in his business, successful, making money and providing, but his wife and him haven't had sex in almost a year. And he said the same thing I hear from so many other guys. I've just given up. Maybe she's just not that into it. Maybe she just doesn't enjoy sex. That is absolutely not true. Women are emotional creatures. Men are logical creatures. And for a woman to be emotionally connected to a man, she needs to have her emotional desires met. Now, there are the odd woman out there. There are exceptions to the rule that just want to bang and fuck every single person out there or their husband. Most women aren't like that. So you can either hope for your woman to be like that or you can meet her unmet desires. So step 1 here is actually understanding what are the unmet desires, the things that fill your partner's emotional love bank. This is such an important step in the connection process. Now, I want you to think about a marriage or a relationship as a bank. If you go to the bank and you try and withdraw $10,000, but there's only $1,000 in that bank, you either cannot withdraw the money or you go into overdraft. And as men, we tend to think that it's enough to just make a deposit of money, aka providing for our family, working hard, growing a business, putting food on the table, as if that's gonna be enough to fill that emotional bank. It's not. So we're trying to withdraw from an empty bank, and the argument might be, well, at the beginning of the relationship, we had lots of sex. You did, but then kids get in the way, then work gets in the way, you stop spending as much time together, you start spending time on other things, you're stressed, cranky from the day, that connection and spark begins to disappear. So step number 1 is identifying what are the unmet desires, what are the things that your wife needs, craves, internally and externally to actually desire you back. How can you fill her back? Are there things that you stopped doing from the past? I know when Rosie and I started dating, we had date nights every single day. We were in bed every single day, having lots of sex. We were connected, we were intimate. But then as I got busier, we stopped having those date nights. When I had a child, we stopped spending as much time together. Our sleep deprivation kicked in. I used to get her flowers. I used to write her notes. All the standards that I set at the beginning of the relationship absolutely disappeared. Now, about halfway into our relationship, I've been with Rosie, my wife, for 8 years now. We've coached 5,000 men to fix their marriages. I noticed there was a massive issue where we stopped having as much sex. We weren't as intimate. When we were intimate, it felt like she didn't want to be there. It felt like I was almost forcing myself on her and she did it as a chore and she really wasn't enjoying it. Now, after some reflection and conversation with her, I realized that she had desires that weren't being met. She wanted me to cook her dinner once a week. That made her feel really appreciated. She wanted me to send her a text once a week and tell her how much I cared about her. She wanted me to look after our daughter, which in the past wasn't something that created intimacy. But there were these desires that made no logical sense to me. Cooking her dinner, looking after our daughter and bathing her in the evening, that made my wife feel appreciated. It made her feel loved. It made her feel supported. It made her feel understood. It made her feel respected. Laser focus, love, appreciation, support, understanding, and respect. And these unmet desires filled her love bank so that when I wanted to withdraw, she actually felt loved and she felt like giving it back. Think about the word feeling. It's an emotional feeling. It's not a logical feeling. Men, we just see a titty, we want to have sex. Women have unmet emotional desires, which are often things that are quite weird or strange, that make them feel internally like they actually want to give it back. Another thing that women want is safety and security. Now, we think as men, safety and security is putting food on the table, making money. But safety and security is communication, the way you show up with your tonality after a long day, how you deal with stress, how you communicate when you're not feeling great. Often as men, we project our bullshit from a long day and our stress and our problems onto our partner, and they lower the feeling of safety and security. So step one is identifying what are the unmet emotional desires that your partner does not have fulfilled. What are the unmet emotional desires that your partner needs to fill her love bank to make her feel loved, appreciated, supported, understood, and respected? And once you've identified what those unmet emotional desires are, you want to start then giving them to your partner with the expectation of nothing in return. And this is the hardest part for so many men. We tell ourselves a story. I'm working my fucking ass off. She doesn't want to have sex with me. This is bullshit. We go into that victim mentality, that blame. It is virtually impossible for you to do the right things and to fill their love bank without them then wanting to return it. But if you expect it to come right away, then it is going to be an issue, because often their bank is so empty that we're stuck in overdraft and it takes time and energy to actually get through. Now, this is the first step. You need the other two, because otherwise you're going to get stuck in a pattern where you're just filling their desires and getting nothing in return. But step one is, what are the unmet emotional desires and how can you turn those into something you give? This is how Rosie and I have had sex every week for like a year or two now, even when she was pregnant, even when she's cranky or upset, because she wants to give it, because I'm making her feel loved. Let's go to step two. And step two is to become attractive, dangerous, and undeniable. Attractive, dangerous, and undeniable. To be a man, you don't have to just look good. You have to be attractive like a magnet. You have to pull people towards you. Most men, especially the guys we work with, are only successful in one area. There are 3 areas you must be successful in: your health, your wealth, and your relationships. Now, most men put all of their time, energy, and effort into wealth to make money, provide safety, security, buy their partner nice things. Now, that's really important. Money doesn't make you happy, but it does provide freedom for you, your family, and your partner. But because all of our time goes into wealth, we sacrifice our health and our relationships. The relationship with our partner and our children, but also the relationship with ourselves. And we sacrifice the relationship with ourselves by sacrificing our health. We go to the bottom of the barrel, getting up early, grinding, working all day, dealing with relentless pressure and stress, which means you're putting out fires all day, working hard to provide, only to come home feeling exhausted, struggling to switch off from the workday, struggling to be present with your family. And because you're so busy and don't have enough time, you stop exercising, you stop eating well, you don't do things to upgrade yourself. Now, in life, everything upgrades. Our phones upgrade, the cars upgrade, Tesla, Toyota, Lamborghini, iPhones, Samsungs, they never go, you know what, we're not going to release any new vehicles or phones this year. It's constantly upgrading. And as a man, to be attractive doesn't just mean to look good. It means to have a healthy body, to not have a fucking gut where you can't see a penis. It also means to be upgrading yourself, upgrading your muscles, upgrading your fitness, upgrading the way you communicate, upgrading the way you deal with stress, upgrading the way you deal with pressure. There is something to be said about a leader. When you can lead in business and making money and providing, but you can also lead in your relationships. When your wife is stressed or upset, you're calm, cool, and connected. When you've had a long, stressful day at work and your wife asks you how your day was, and you say, you know what, it was really hard, but I'm grateful for it and I got through. You stay positive, you stay empowered. You are powerful as a man. That's what it means to be an empowered man. That is fucking sexy, because most men are weak. Most men have weak bodies, they have weak minds, they don't know how to deal with emotions, they don't know how to deal with stress, they don't know how to deal with pressure. I used to be one of these guys. And then I'd wonder why after a long day, when I'm stressed as fuck, my wife doesn't want to have sex with me. It's because she sees a man who isn't attractive, a man who isn't dangerous, a man who's weak, and a man who isn't the best version of himself. Where in your life are you expecting your partner to be attracted to you when you know that you're not attractive? To be attractive, to be undeniable, to be dangerous means that you are a master of every realm. You have a healthy body and mind, you're crushing it in business and your wealth, you look great, you feel great, you smell great, you're well kept, you're well groomed, you get haircuts, you look after yourself, and you're a great leader in your relationship with your children, with your team, and with your partner. You know how to communicate. How can you become more attractive to your wife? As men, we expect our partner to be attracted to us without actually fucking being attractive. And when you know what their unmet emotional desires are and you meet them, you fulfill those desires, you fill their love bank while also working on yourself, upgrading yourself as a man, then your partner sees you as the best option. If the other men out there are weak and stressed and triggered and angry, they don't look great, they don't feel great, they don't operate well, they don't communicate great, then you stand up above the rest. And women, whether you want to deny this or not, they love status, they love emotional things. If you ever see a nice car drive down the street, you know exactly what I mean. So how can you become attractive physically and mentally? How can you become undeniable as a man, the best version of yourself? How can you become someone who's dangerous in every realm of human endeavor and actually show your partner, show the world, show your team, show yourself when you look in the mirror that you're the fucking man? Because I'm telling you right now, if you're the fucking man, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you're showing the fuck up, it's very hard for your partner to not go, you know what? That is the man I want to be around. By the way, this is how Rosie and I have got to a point where she wants to please me. She'll even say, if we haven't had sex for over a week, oh my God, it's been a while, we should probably have it. And it's not because she feels forced to, it's because she wants to, because I'm attracting her towards me like a magnet, because she sees my performance. Now, if this is something you struggle with, you don't know how to be attractive, you don't know how to balance business with health and relationships, it probably means you just need a plan. There'll be a link down below where you can book a coaching session with my team, and we'll literally build out your custom plan to be desired by your wife, where she wants to have sex with you because she appreciates and respects you and she sees you as attractive. If you want to be that guy, go down below, book a coaching session right now. Now, step 3 here is actually learning how to communicate and have clearing conversations with your partner about intimacy and sex. The guy I spoke to, I talked about at the start of this podcast, he is very successful. He makes almost, I think, $1 to $2 million a year. He's very successful in his business. And he's just given up on his relationship. And I asked him, well, have you actually talked to your partner about the lack of sex and the lack of intimacy? And his answer was no. And that shocked me. I'm like, what do you mean? You want sex, you're not getting sex. You haven't talked about it? And he said, yeah, no, I haven't talked about it. So I asked him why, and he said, well, I don't really know how to bring it up. And this is the thing as men. This guy can crush it in business and career. He knows how to get what he wants. He knows how to sell. He knows how to market. But as men, we don't know how to have conversations like this in our relationships because these conversations are uncomfortable. These conversations often end in us getting upset or triggered. This is how it normally happens. We aren't getting sex. We aren't getting laid. We blame our partner. We don't meet their desires. We're not attractive. We get judgmental towards them. We don't say anything. We don't say anything. At the end of the day, we put our arm on their thigh or their shoulder. They brush us off. We get triggered. We get upset. We just sweep it under the rug. And that builds up. That resentment, that frustration builds up until one day we explode and we get angry at our partner for not giving us sex. We get triggered at our partner for not giving us sex. Instead of being attractive, we are repellent. We repel away. We're like the opposite of a magnet, polarizing because we don't know how to control our emotions. We fall into that victim mentality. A powerful man is able to ask his partner, what are your unmet desires? When the partner says, I don't know, you say, well, if you did know, what would be the answer? And you don't stop till you figure it out. A powerful man is able to communicate with his partner what she finds attractive. He asks her, what do you find attractive? What did I used to do that I no longer do that you used to love? What would make you fucking horny? What would make you wet? What would make you desire me? And your partner will go, I don't know, because she wants to be led. So he figures it out. And then a powerful man talks to his partner about these things. He communicates with her and has difficult conversations. When Rosie and I weren't having sex, I'd get angry at her and not communicate. Now, if it's been a week, I say, hey, is everything okay? What's going on? How's your love bank? How are you feeling in the relationship? Oh, I'm not feeling very desired. Interesting. Tell me more about that. And I have those hard conversations with her, even though it hurts my ego, even though I don't want to, even though I tell myself a story, I should be getting laid. I know that if my wife isn't horny, if she's not wanting to initiate sex or desire me, then I fucked up somewhere. It's that simple. It's my job to be attractive and to fill her desires. And if I do those things, I know for a fact she's gonna wanna have sex. So if she's not wanting to have sex, I get to communicate with her, where have I missed the mark? If you remember one thing from this, remember, hard conversations, easy life. Easy conversations, hard life. We had that on our fridge for like a year. Rosie didn't know why. Now she gets it. Where in your relationship have you avoided hard conversations? Where have you swept things under the rug, expecting for them to get better when they really haven't? Well, you wouldn't do that in business. You wouldn't just let a fire burn without putting it out. What are the conversations you get to have? And understand the first time you do this, it's gonna be fucking difficult. It might cause an argument, it might cause a problem, but you do this time and time again until you learn how to communicate with your partner about what you both want, how to meet each other's desires, and you set targets and goals to do that. And this is such a powerful principle, is not just filling their love bank, their unmet desires, not just becoming attractive, but being able to communicate about all these things so you're on the same page and you want to make each other feel loved. You want to give each other intimacy and sex because that is what a great relationship is like. It's not normal to lose the spark. It's not normal to stop having sex. And if you have lost that, you've got to communicate about it and you've got to keep communicating until you get on the same page. And this is where your brain might be going, well, this is way too fucking simple. You're telling me if I just find out what my wife's unmet emotional desires are and just meet those desires, her love bank will fill up. And then while I'm doing that, I become attractive as a man, physically, mentally, emotionally. I become healthier physically and mentally. I become more in control of my emotions. I become dangerous, undeniable as a man. She's gonna want to have sex with me. And then if I communicate all these things and we actually build conversation, we'll be on the same page. It can't be that simple. It is. But just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy, because as men, we get triggered, we get upset, we feel resentment. We've been going through these issues sometimes for a year or two, and we just start to think that it's normal. So my recommendation to you is if any of this has made sense, or if any of this seems simple, do it for a month and see what happens. The amount of men we've worked with who do this for a month and their partner starts feeling more aroused, more horny, more excited is absolutely fascinating. I promise it will work, but you've got to commit to it and you've got to go all in on becoming the man she cannot resist. It's so simple, but it doesn't mean it's easy. Now, if you've got value from this podcast, make sure you give it a thumbs up or 5 stars wherever you're listening. And if you want a custom roadmap on how to actually become that attractive man that your wife wants and desires, while also having health and wealth and respect and all the things in that triangle lined up, then go down below, book a coaching session with my team, and we'll literally build out your custom empowered man roadmap to have the sex, relationship, health, life you deserve. Go down below, book a session.